some of you go, oh, there I heard myself. I see some of you guys bundling up. Is everyone too cold? Well, if you're too cold, tough, because we're not moving the thermostats. That's the way we're leaving it. No. Hey, I want to thank everybody. Kelly and I and our family were gone last week. We spent the week in Disneyland, so I can't pay the guys tonight. So their payment's going to be your applause, and they have some merchandise in the back. Please make sure you go back there later and take a look at that. They have some great stuff. We're really excited for this night to have Brian Kahatsu. He's going to be hosting. The great Brandon Young's going to be bringing us some laughs, and then we're going to finish the night out with Mr. Bob Smiley. Anyone hear of him? All right. All right. I think we're getting pretty close here. You know, some people asked me earlier as they was coming in, why were you in Disneyland last week? Last Sunday I turned 60. 60 years old. Yep. And I'm starting to go bald. My back's going out, which makes it hard to comb my hair in the morning when you have a bad back and you're going bald, because in order to to comb my hair, I first have to bend over and get it out of the drain. Comb it like this. Bye. Have to sit in rocking chairs because I need about 3 good to stand up. That's how bad it is. How are we doing back there, Brian? These people are, you guys ready for some real comedy? All right, well, I'm going to make you wait a couple more minutes. We went to Disneyland. We took our grandchildren. There's nothing better than being a grandparent. And going to Disneyland is so much better without them. That's a little bit true, but not all the way true. The real big news I want to tell you is my wife and I are celebrating 40 years of marriage. Yep, true story, 40 years. And she's never been mad at me until this year. 40 years, and she just now got mad at me. She told me I ruined our anniversary, and I said, I didn't even know it was my anniversary. How'd I ruin it? So I brought her some flowers because we had a funeral, and but I chose good flowers. The ribbon said "beloved wife," you know. So, hey, I'm a preacher. I don't make a lot of money, and in fact, when my truck broke down, I took it to the repair shop, and the guy had the hood up, and he was looking under there, and you always know it's bad when the mechanic's going. I'm starting to sweat. And I said, "No. Be easy on me. I'm just a poor preacher." And he said, "I know, I've heard you." And so I try to save money wherever I can. We have two boys. They're men now. They're grown up. I have one who's married and has children. The other one's not married, and he has money. That works out pretty good. But my oldest son is an auctioneer. Awesome, an auctioneer. And he told me one day, he goes, Pops, being an auctioneer is a lot like being a preacher. I said, "You're going to have to explain that to me." He goes, "Yeah, I talk fast. People give me money." I'm like, dude, that is so true. That's so true. You guys ready for some real comedy? Yeah. All right. Once again, these guys are so awesome. They come out here just to give you guys a great night of fun and laughs. And their pay tonight's going to be your applause, and you're visiting their merchandise. So let's give it up to the one and only Mr. Brian Kahatsu of Cross-Eyed Comedy. They're bringing you this great show tonight. My friend Brian, everybody.
Keep it going for Clay, everybody. Clay, happy birthday. Late happy birthday to Clay. You seriously, you turned 60. I didn't know that. You literally are one of my oldest friends. We go back a ways, but I didn't know that long. So, so happy birthday. Like, big kid at heart, went to Disneyland. That's great. So, hi, guys. How you doing? You guys remember me? Yep, same jokes. Anyway, no, I'm going to try to tell you something different here. So excited to be here. I'm glad the weather is good. Enjoying the weather, everybody? Yes? It's kind of nice. We got baseball back. That's great. That's good. I'm excited. So recently I was on the road. It got very dark all of a sudden. There we go. Okay, can you still see me? Okay. Was on the road. I went to Colorado. It was very cold in Colorado. It was below freezing, which is I was born and raised here. I don't do freezing, but I went to Colorado anyways. Had some shows there. Got there, and I realized one thing that's very interesting is that they live a completely different lifestyle. For those of you that lived where it's freezing, it's a different lifestyle than Arizona. For instance, like if it's below freezing, they go shopping. They go to the store. And then they buy their meats and their frozen stuff and their ice cream, and then they load it in their car, and then they say, hey, do you want to go to a movie? All right, let's go to a movie. And then they go to a movie, and that's 2 hours, and then they get out of the movie, and they're like, hey, you want to go see Barbara? Let's go see Barbara. We haven't seen Barbara in a while. So then they go see Barbara. They get done with Barbara, and then they go, hey, let's go eat. And they go eat, and then they get home, and they go, oh, we forgot. We got groceries in the car. Like, nah, we'll get it tomorrow. We don't do that here, right? I go buy ice cream in the summer. It is a mission impossible with the whole family, all hands on deck. Basically, we get in the car. My wife's waiting for us. She's like, you go in, you go buy the ice cream. You text me when you've got it. I will put ice into the little cooler that we have, and then you come out, and then I got to put it in there. Boom, and then bam, we got basically 10 minutes to get home. Did we lose me? There I am. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Check. Okay, there we go. All right. So that just broke the cadence of the joke. It was really great. After that, I had this whole thing that happened, and then there's this whole thing with us getting in the driveway, and my wife just like, and then all that. So we'll pass that. Okay. So we're off to a rough start. It's okay. All right. So my family, we recently, because my wife's wonderful. She does everything around the house like most wives do. But I bought her one of those robot vacuum cleaners, right? Those are pretty cool. It kind of goes around the house. You can name them, on your apps. Mine is named Dusty Bottoms, which the name holds true. I will tell you that right now. He's great. He is a part of the family now. I talk to it all the time, like, you're not supposed to be in this room. Can you leave? And then it gets very confused because it's like, and then it finally goes. I'm like, you have a map of the house. How do you not know where you're at? He's great. We love him to death. We also recently, the reason we needed that is because we got a new dog. We have a new dog in our house. We bought a yellow lab because I am half Japanese. My wife thought that was funny. So we have a yellow lab. My wife named him Kato. She's like, I know you like Bruce Lee, and so I'm going to name him Kato after Bruce Lee from the Green Hornet. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. So that's what we've done. And everybody loves Kato in the house. Very interesting dog. He's very afraid of the little doggy door that we've put into the house. He's just so terrified of it. He doesn't just go through it. He has to run through it every single time. And he comes in just basically, it's crazy. He comes in like Kramer from Seinfeld all the time. He's like, poof. And he just stands there like, I made it. Like, I'm alive. Look at me. So it's great. But yeah, so we have a new dog in the house. My wife, her car died. And literally, we had this car for almost 20 years. She was driving it, and it was having problems. And we keep things forever until, like our marriage, 30 years. We just keep going. So that's how it works in our house. So my wife's driving her car, and the car starts to die. Believe it or not, it makes it to the house and just dies in the garage. I'm thinking it wanted to die at home, which is ridiculous for a car that knows that. So we bought my wife a new car. I said, get whatever you want, because we drive cars for 20 years. So she got this is crazy. She bought a Ford Bronco, the Bronco Sport, and she loves it. And then I started thinking about, that's an interesting choice, And then I started really thinking about, I'm really into watching things that are around, like when you mention something and then it pops up in your life, like you say, oh, I haven't talked to my friend so-and-so, and suddenly they call. I'm very much into like trying to see what God's putting in my life and trying to figure that out. And then I started thinking too hard the other day. I thought, we have a new dog named Kato. Not just Kato the Green Hornet, but Kato Kalin, who used to live with O.J. Simpson. Blonde, dumb, eats all the food in your house. And then I realized, wait a minute, my wife just got a Ford Bronco, and it's white. So pray for me, is what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on. And I wish this were all made up, but it is absolutely true. So it's cool. All right, we have kids in the front row. Hello, kids. How you doing? First comedy show ever, or what? No? You've been to several? Have you seen me before? Sorry. Okay. All right. It's good. It's good. Don't heckle, is all we're saying, okay? All right. Any kids on this side? We got kids over here? Cool. And this this gentleman here. That's so cool. All right, thank you guys for coming out. It's very cool that you're here. Let's see, let me end on it. You saw my act before. What's your favorite joke of mine? The story? You want the Three Little Pigs? All right. All right, I'll do the Three Little Pigs by demand only. Okay, all right, it's $1 each. No, you're cool. All right, so so I will tell a story of the three pigs. So my father, extremely traditional Japanese man, lived here in Arizona. We basically lived our entire life here. My dad was a Japanese farmer, and let me back up. He was a farmer who was Japanese. He didn't grow Japanese people. That's ridiculous. Anyway. So my dad, here's the thing that I love. My dad used to tell me a story before I go to bed, no different than when you guys were little kids. The only difference in my family is that when I was a little boy sitting in bed waiting for my father, my little 5-foot Japanese father would come in. Lay down. I tell you a story. The ancient scroll tale of the three pig. Pig number one, he work in hayfield. Oh, la, 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 la. Suddenly, big bad dragon come. Hey! Pig number two. He see what happened. He say, this not happened to me. So, from 1,000-year-old oak tree, he make nunchuck. He wait for dragon. Dragon come. Pig number three. He see what happened. He say, this not happen to me. So, in brick oven, he make samurai sword. 5 years later, sword ready. He wait for dragon. Dragon come. Sweet dreams. All right. All right. Thank you guys. I got to get in better shape for these jokes. I'm getting winded. Whew, okay. All right. So we have a great show for you guys tonight. Got a great lineup of friends coming out. Actually, I don't know how many of you were here before, but Brandon's been here before. Great, really funny guy. I don't know if you guys have seen him before, but if not, you're in for a real treat. Let's see. I'm really out of breath. I'm really out of shape for my jokes at this point. Okay. All right. So without any further ado, our first comic coming to the stage, very funny guy, lives in San Diego. He's basically he's got his own dry bar special, travels all around the country. Please welcome Mr. Brandon Young, everybody.
Gosh, you really are out of breath, Brian. It's funny because you thought I would be walking up to the stage. That's fine. How many of you guys see me before I was here about a year and a half ago? A couple of you guys? Awesome. How many of you guys saw Bob Smiley last time he was here? Okay, about half of you. Awesome. How many of you guys see Clay? How many of you guys see Clay way too much? That is. That's the right answer. That's the right answer. That's his wife in the back, by the way. If you didn't know that. Every day of my life, he is the absolute worst. Just kidding. I love Arizona because you guys did not care at all about this COVID thing whatsoever. You guys did not wear masks at all last time I was here. It was right in the heat of it. You just weren't wearing it. It was awesome. I loved it. Dude. Anyway, so just think about COVID. I got the booster shot, right? But I recently heard that if you got Pfizer, they recommend getting the Moderna booster shot. You guys heard this, and vice versa? If you got Moderna, you get Pfizer. I used to drink a lot when I was younger, okay? And there used to be this saying, beer before liquor, right? Never been sicker. What is that with the booster shot? What is that with the vaccine? Is it Moderna before Pfizer, never been wiser, right? Yeah. Pfizer before Moderna, a lot of concerna. It's a lot. Yeah. Oh, man. The best is I actually got COVID after I got the vaccine, which is hilarious. Doesn't work anyway. Just kidding. CDC just canceled me. I am 41 years old. I'm middle-aged. I told it to this friend of mine, I'm 41, I'm middle-aged. My friend's like, you are not middle-aged. There is no way you're making it to 82. Like 52 tops is really all you got. I tried growing one of those chin strap beards, but I had a hard time deciding which chin to put it on. So, chose the third one. I guess what I'm trying to say is you need to lose weight when your shadow starts setting off automatic doors. I started doing those online exercise videos. I like doing these online exercise videos because there's always a main instructor guy, right? He's always like, okay, if you can't do what I do, follow Sharon. Right? Like Sharon's always off to the side smoking a cigarette, like eating a cheeseburger. I'm following Sharon. Let's do this thing. I don't get mistaken for celebrities. I got mistaken for a celebrity a few months ago. I was doing a show out in Atlanta. I was leaving the hotel room to go to the show. And the lady working the desk at the hotel was like, hey, has anyone ever told you look like Blake Shelton? I was like, the country music singer Blake Shelton? She's like, yeah. Like if he were to gain all the weight. I'm like, it's not nice. It's not very nice, lady. She's like, no, you have a very pleasant face. I'm like, pleasant's not a compliment. Yeah, because there's always one word that follows the word pleasant, and it's plump. Like, that's the only word that follows it. I have a pleasantly plump face. Thanks, lady. Originally from Michigan. That's the right answer, okay. Now, I'm from a small town in Michigan called Oscoda, right? Like, dating app Tinder in a small town is basically the same thing as Ancestry.com. Great, got messed with Uncle Bob again. Not this time, Bob. Like everything's so far behind in the times in Oscoda too, right? Like local movie theater is just now getting that Star Wars movie. Yeah, The Empire Strikes Back. It's just so there we go. Oh man, we had one family who were Jehovah's Witnesses. It's got to be tough being a Jehovah's Witness in a small town. Not a whole lot of houses to choose from, right? Everybody's like, oh great, here comes Hezekiah again. It's the fourth time this week, Hezekiah. Knock it off. I wasn't very popular growing up. I was kind of a loser, actually. I asked my mom to the mother-son dance, and she said no. She took my brother instead. My dad then asked me to the father-daughter dance. And we went. We had a great time. It was fantastic. It was great. My brother and I, we used to play Cowboys and Indians when we were kids. He'd always be Emmett Smith. I'd be Deepak Chopra. Couldn't quite pull off Gandhi is all I'm trying to get at, I guess. Couldn't do that. See, Deepak Chopra is an Indian from India. Okay, never mind. I'll move on from that. Am I getting heckled by a baby? What's going on back there? It's a good thing this is a free show. We charge babies twice, so it's twice as much. What grade are you in? 7th grade? You look like a 6th grader. Sorry. I don't know what that means. I know that's so insulting. I look 1 year younger? How dare you? I'm totally messing around with you. What's your favorite subject in school? Recess. Okay, fantastic. Yes. Yeah, we read minds. Bob will go into your whole life story. It's going to be crazy what he's capable of doing. What's your favorite subject? Science? Okay, that's good. All right. You guys can clap for science. Not too many people like science as their favorite subject. It's like, oh, this guy can read and he knows something about chemistry? I don't know. Do you got a girlfriend? Do you want one? We have any single girls about 7th grade? I'm also a matchmaker, fella. That's not how that works. So how'd you meet your wife? Well, there was this comic on stage, right? I was in 7th grade. Oh, man. My dad and I, we had kind of a strained relationship. I know that because whenever I was on the playground and a kid would come up to me and say my dad could beat up your dad, I'd always say, here's my address. He gets home at 5:30. Let's do this thing. My dad wouldn't let me listen to Michael Jackson when I was a kid, which is weird, right? So I asked him, why can't I listen to Michael Jackson? He said, Michael Jackson isn't manly enough. Like, what do you mean not manly enough? He said, don't worry about it. You go back in your room, you listen to Queen and Elton John like a man. They went to that father-daughter dance right after that. You guys, what happened? Oh, man. I wasn't very popular growing up. I know that because of my 10th birthday, I had a party, and I invited over 40 people, but only one showed up. Yeah, my brother. Yeah. My dad would have been there. My mom would have been there, but this other kid, Brian's house, celebrating his birthday. It's a bad thing. Your name's not Brian, is it? Oh, that would have been really good. My mind's almost there. I can almost get it. What's the first letter of your first name? D? Is it David? Is it Dennis? Daryl? Is it, what's the second letter of your first name? A? I already said David. Daniel? Is it Daniel? I did it, you guys. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Okay, you next to. What's the first letter of your, okay, I'm not going to go that far. We have any married couples? We were my married couples in the crowd. You guys right there. You guys, I met you guys. You guys over there. You guys are married together. What's your name, sir? No, not back there. The guy in the hat right here who dressed up for the show. Andy. Okay. Is it Andrew? Oh, it is not. Oh, man. I knew that. I knew it wasn't. I was going to tell you it's not. How long have you guys been married for? 22 days? That's not very long, sir. It's 23. 23 years. You're forgiven. How many? Are these all your kids? A lot of them. Okay, you're not. Okay. Huh? You have 5 kids? They're all your own, huh? Wow. I did a show one time and they had 11. They had 11 kids. Yeah, only half of them came to the show because they couldn't afford the tickets. But it was they drove literally. They owned a party bus was their car. It was crazy. I was like 11 kids. Oh man. So you guys married 23 years. What's the dumbest argument you guys have ever been in? That's the right answer, you guys. That's the right answer. You laugh it off. We argue about our 5 kids constantly. It's all we argue about. Now, I got in an argument with my wife. We got into an argument over my alarm clock, of all things, right? It's like one of those first panel digital wood panel alarm clocks, Like, I've had this alarm clock for over 25 years. I've only had my wife for like 11, right? So we got this argument. My wife wanted me to get rid of my alarm clock. She says it doesn't go with anything in our bedroom. I was like, it goes with my sleep pattern. Does that not matter to you at all? Right? So we got in this huge argument. We went back and forth about a half hour, 45 minutes, arguing over an alarm clock, right? And I finally won an argument, you guys. Yes, first man ever to win an argument. Yeah, I got to decide. Yeah, I got to decide which new alarm clock we got for her bedroom. And coincidentally enough, it was the same one that she had wanted, but I won that one. Where did you guys meet? Did you guys meet in 7th grade at a church by chance? Where'd you guys meet? Do you guys meet in prison? I can do this. Did you guys meet? There's some things I can't say in a church where you may have met. Keeping it. You made it sound like it was like a big, we met, you'll never guess. You met in college. Okay, do you guys have class together or you just met in the quad or whatever they call it these days? You had English class, but you're not related. English class. I'll tell you, my wife and I, we met at church, as you should, 7th grade, keep that in mind. So we met at church, right? So my wife was overseeing the hospitality ministry, so the ushers and greeters, and I was a volunteer of the hospitality ministry. So I looked at her, I was like, oh, this chick's pretty cute, whatever, it's fine. She looked at me like, I don't know who this guy is, I can't tell you his name, any clue? No clue who I was. We were both invited to this wedding, and I had been messaging her via email, right? And I was like, I'm just going to ask her to this wedding as my date, right? Even though she was already going, so it's fine. So I asked her via email, because that's what players do in 2009, if you're curious. So I asked her, and she appropriately said no. She rejected me, as they ought to do. But the thing is, we only lived 5 minutes away from each other, and the wedding we were going to was about 45 minutes north of where we were. So I asked her, well, do you want to carpool to the wedding? She said, sure. I'm like, you're stupid. What is wrong with you? Anyway. She hates when I say that part. She's not stupid. Hopefully you guys aren't recording this. Don't chill her. No, so we ended up going, I make her drive because I didn't want to drive. I was very stubborn. I felt rejected, so I'm like, I'm going to make this woman drive, whatever. So I did this thing with her. It's called The Game. I used to play this with one of my dumb friends when I was a kid. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. If you can come within 2 numbers, I'll drive. But if not, you have to drive. Daniel, what's a number between 1 and 10? Nope, it was 1. You were way off. Sorry. Not sure if you caught that. It doesn't matter what the person says. I'm going to lie and say a totally different number. So she guessed 6, and I was like, no, it was 1. You were way off. So I make her drive, and I didn't even offer gas money because that's how I enrolled at the time. So we go up there, have a good time. The car right up there, it's fine. At the wedding was fine. The reception was great. The reception, they kept playing like all these like 90s R&B songs, like Usher, like Keith Sweat, like Brian McKnight. You guys know what I'm talking about, college men. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. So we're this is great. So this is like my generation, like R&B. It's pretty cool. So but the car ride back, like my now wife has CDs in her car. So CDs were these things back in the 90s where played music. It was like an MP, whatever 9 it is now. I don't know what that is. So she had all these like Casey and JoJo and Usher. Like so, she puts these CDs in. We're listening, having a good time, singing along, whatever. Then Casey and JoJo had this song called "All My Life," where it's like one of my favorite R&B songs in the '90s. And Casey or JoJo, there's a part in this song where one of them hits this really high note. He's always like, "I really love." I can't hit that note for the life of me now, right? But this is how I know God exists, because at that moment, at that exact time, I hit that note. First and only time I hit that note. I hit that note, my now wife looks at me and goes, "Who's this guy?" Yeah, and I'm like, "I'm Brandon Young. That's who I am, baby. That's who I am." So we're having a great time, laughing, having a good fun time. But we get back to my place. She goes to drop me off. My roommate's home at the time, so I go, "Hey, you want to come up and just hang out with my roommate and I, watch TV or whatever?" She said, "Sure." I'm like, "Okay, you're really dumb. What is wrong with you?" So we go up there. So this is my favorite part of this whole story. So we get up there. Open the door, there's my roommate who's having one of the worst rough patches of his entire life. He's like 29 years old at the time. He just lost his job. His roommate's on this non-date date with this chick, whatever. And also don't call women chicks. Note, you guys. So I open the door. There's my roommate, rough time of his life. He's sitting by himself in the living room, drinking an entire bottle of wine out of the bottle, wearing nothing but his boxer shorts, watching The Notebook. My now wife looks at him, looks at the TV, looks at me, and goes, "I love The Notebook." We watched The Notebook and had a great time and got married. Here we are, 12 years later now, 11 years later. If you guys are curious, my roommate, you can clap. Thank you. Appreciate that. She loves a good love story. There it is. Yeah, that roommate, he's dead now. He died of depression. No, I'm just kidding. He's alive. He's perfectly fine. He got married, has a couple kids, so don't worry about him. He's doing well. Certain times in your life, you just look dumb doing things. I think you agree on that. You just look stupid. One of my favorite things is when you're about 10 feet away from a door and someone's holding the door open for you. Well, do that little half run, half walk. What is that move? It's the same move you do when you're crossing the street, cars waving you across, doing this, your little half run, half walk. I think if you don't make it within 3 seconds, they should legally be allowed to run you over. Who's with me on that? Anybody with me on that? Oh, man. I did something stupid the other day. I was at Target with my wife shopping for a new alarm clock. And no, we were actually shopping for candles. I came across a candle that read unscented on it. Yeah, so I picked it up. And I smelled it because I wanted to know what unscented smelled like. And apparently it smells like stupidity and regrets. You guys are curious. Oh, man. Are you guys together? Like as married or dating or dating? Okay, how long have you guys been dating for? 2.5. Weeks, months, years? Hours. Awesome. Hey guys, their first date, they came to see me and Bob Smiley. 2.5 years. It's a pretty long time. You guys I'm not going to ask that because it's so annoying. Where did you guys meet? Online. Okay. On Tinder in a small town? She's not related, is she? Just tell me she's not. She's not. What app? Was it like MySpace or what was it? I don't know. That's around 2.5 years ago. You don't remember? Was it Christian Mingle? 2.5 men. Okay, .com. It's the only thing I can think of with 2.5. You don't, it's 2.5, it wasn't that long. Okay, was it eHarmony? Do either of you still have an account open? Let's pull it up right now. 2.5 years. Oh, what? The truth comes out. Clay actually can marry you guys right now if you want. We could do it. We could turn this comedy thing into no, we're not going to do that. It's fine. Oh, man. I have a dog. My dog is 42 years old, and he still lives at home with his parents. What a loser, right? They say that getting a dog is actually good practice for when you want to have a baby. You guys ever heard that before? Yeah, I disagree with that. I mean, how many times do you have to rub the baby's face in the carpet before he gets the hints? Bad baby. If you're curious, the answer's 2. You guys are curious. I can't say that joke anymore. Clay, can you forgive me, please? Can you talk to God or something on my behalf? Just kidding. I wonder if whenever my dog sees me eating a cookie, if he thinks I've been a good boy. I love doing comedy. You get to do comedy in a lot of different places. You can meet a lot of interesting people. A couple years ago, I did a fundraiser show with a couple other heavyset comedians. It was great because before the show, they had a barbecue, right? Yeah, but at one point, they ran out of chicken. I know that because the lady serving the chicken kept yelling, "The chicken gone! The chicken gone!" Like she sounded like Eric Cartman from South Park had been smoking his entire life, right? Like, we got the mashed potatoes, we got the corn and the cob, but the chicken gone. The best is the whole car ride back, like we couldn't get this voice out of her head. So anytime a song would come on the radio, we'd incorporate chicken gone into the song. It's like our own little hashtag chicken gone challenge, right? She'd be like John Cougar Mellencamp's Jack and Diane. Oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of the chicken gone. Elton John, your song. And you can tell everybody that chicken gone. What about Steve Perry, the former lead singer of Journey? He had that song called Oh Sherry, right? The chicken is gone. That's it. That's all that one is. My personal favorite, though, is Spice Girls Wannabe. If you want to eat the chicken, you got to get with my hands. Chicken won't last forever, but handship never ends. Somewhere right down, because chicken gone. This lady, she had the greatest heckle I've ever heard in my entire comedy career, too, right? Like, at one point, I told a very funny joke, and she goes, "I'm laughing, but I don't know why." Maybe you got chicken poisoning. Maybe that's why you're laughing, ma'am. I don't know. You guys ever go to one of those churches that have, like, the dueling old ladies who try to one-up each other in the praise department? Like, you ever see this before? Like, the preacher's up there preaching, one lady chimes in, "Amen." Next lady's like, "Hallelujah." They go back and forth, "Praise the Lord." "Praise Jesus." Finally, the first lady's had enough. She goes, "Hakuna Matata." Pretty sure it just means no worries for the rest of your days. What book is she reading it from anyway? The Lion King James Version? I had to sneak that pun in. I love that one. I don't care. All right, guys. Before I get out of here, I need my next bit. I need 100% audience participation. You guys ready? I need some energy. You guys ready? Awesome. After the show, I am selling a shirt, and if I can get 100% of you to buy my shirt, it's gonna make for a much better trip back to San Diego for me. I'll be over there. I'm actually selling these for only $10 each. And if you buy one of these, I'll give you a copy of my first comedy, not special, but CD that I made. It's on digital disc, so you guys can come get that. It's called It Doesn't Matter. Yes, that's the actual name of it. I am stupid now thinking about it, but it's fine. So come see me after the show. Also, I don't have any change, so if you guys have a $100 bill, you can spend $100 on a T-shirt. Normally only costs $10. I do take Venmo. I also take credit card, and I do also take Bitcoin or whatever currency, cryptocurrency. So that's not a joke. I'll take it. I'll take it. I think SHIB's going to go back up, so we'll talk about it after the show if you guys are curious. All right. I love being a Christian. There's some things about being a Christian I like. There's some things that I don't like, though. One of the things that I don't like about being a Christian is this thing called a prayer circle. You guys ever heard this before? A prayer circle is this thing where people get around in a circle, they hold each other's hands, they put their hands on each other's shoulders. They usually take turns praying for someone. Like, I don't like it because I'm always the last person to go in the prayer circle. I can never think of anything original when it's my turn to go, right? Like, everyone's always like, "God, I just want to come for right now and just pray for Timmy to do well in school." Like, I was going to pray for Timmy to do well in school. That's my prayer. Next guy's like, God, I want to pray for Timmy's baseball team. I was going to pray for Timmy's baseball team. So now whenever it's my turn to pray, I always think the most outlandish thing that I know nobody else is ever going to pray for. I'm always like, God, I just want to come before right now and just pray that Timmy doesn't eat all the chicken. I also don't like those people who pray like a little too long. They don't know when to end the prayer. You guys ever see these guys before? Yeah, they're always like, God, we just want to come before right now, God. Because God, we know God, that you're God. And everything you do, God, is because you're God. God, we pray that Timmy doesn't eat all the chicken, God. We know that you're the great colonel in the sky, God. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Another prayer I have to pray is just end the prayer already, would you? So I got a solution to that. If you ever find yourself in that situation and someone's praying a little too long and you're holding that person's hand, start rubbing the hand a little bit with your thumb. Yeah. Your hand's on their shoulder, go for the earlobe. Works every time. I'm Brandon Young. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your show. One more time for your host, Brian Kohatsu.
Good job. Keep it going for Brandon Young, everybody. Sweet. All right. Afterwards, he will be selling the shirt. He will be guessing your names if you're a male. Ladies, he will be guessing your age. I'm kidding. That's stupid. He'll be guessing your weight. Anyway, it's an old joke. Don't laugh at that. Okay. All right. Cool. And no match made for this gentleman right here. You're 7th grade. I met my wife in 3rd grade. We were both 7 years old when we met. So you've waited too long. Okay. And with that, we'll keep the show going. All right. So again, who was here before when Bob was here last time? Applause. Okay. Cool. Thanks for coming back. All right. Well, I could say he needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. So his next comic coming to the stage. You've seen him here before, some of you. He's got a dry bar special. He travels all over the country. You probably know him. You love him, just like I do. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Smiley, everybody.
What is up? I don't need that. I am a professional. How about a round of applause for the other 2 comics? So much water, man. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me back. I never get invited back anywhere. So this is amazing. And so and thank you guys for saving this standing ovation till the end. That means a lot to me. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to give me a standing ovation at the end. I mean, the Christians will, but yeah. No, it's so great to be back in Arizona. I love Arizona. Actually, my favorite traveling story happened in Arizona. Clay, where are you going? Okay, all right. I know you're getting up there in age, and I'm just worried if you start wandering around. But no, my favorite story actually happened in Phoenix. It was right when the iPhone came out. I know. Oh, I forgot. I'm supposed to start with a memory act. I'm guessing Daniel, you're in 7th grade, and you like science, and you want a girlfriend, but you're not going to get one. So. Front row, buddy. Yeah, you did it. So, no. So when the iPhone first came out, and I know there's a lot of kids here. You guys don't even remember what it was like. But when the iPhone first came out, it did everything. Bless you. All right. There. Welcome to the super spreader. So great. So, but when the iPhone came out, it did everything. It had GPS. If I was nervous, I could be in the green room. I could use the deodorant app. Yeah. I like to do that. Now she's sneezing in her shirt. That can't be hygienic. Save on deodorant. So I'm so sorry. I don't even know you. So. But, and I like to do the deodorant app joke because some people laugh because I think it's a funny joke. But there's always a few of you that's like, does it do that? You know? And if anybody's from Arkansas, you're probably like, what's deodorant? So, But my favorite story that happened was that the iPhone came out. I did not know how to work it, but I got it. And but thankfully, my oldest son was 9, so he knew how to work it. And he made, that's not even a joke. He really did. He was like, and he made a ringtone for me, which is super sweet. His ringtone, my ringtone on my phone for the longest time was, "Hello, Dad, pick up your phone." So I was in Phoenix, and I was getting ready to go through the metal detectors. I did a show the night before, and so that morning I woke up. I was doing what you do in Arizona. I was bursting into flames. You guys are always like, "It's a dry heat." I'm like, "So's a welding torch. I don't want that on my body." And I always worry about coming to Arizona because I'm a redhead, so I don't like tan. I can't even use regular sunscreen. I got to use mayonnaise. Seriously, I get a sunburn in a bright kitchen, so Arizona is a little nerve-wracking. But so I was indoors. I was about to go through TSA, and I was listening to my little ringtone because I'm a dad and I get all sappy and my, it's like, "Hello, Dad." And so it was time to go through the metal detectors, put my phone in the bag, put it on the conveyor belt. The TSA guy in Sky Harbor saw me and he looked in my bag because he was like, "What are you putting something in your bag?" He didn't even see the phone. I had a jacket in there, and he reached in and he pulled out, I had a tube of toothpaste. And I didn't know you can't fly with it. He's like, "What is this?" I was like, "That's toothpaste. What are you, from West Virginia?" And yeah, he got mad because he was. This is a true story. I don't know why I picked West Virginia, but he really was from West Virginia. So he was already really mad. And he was like, "You can't fly with toothpaste." And I was like, "Okay, calm down." I didn't think it through, but now that I'm thinking it through, I totally agree. I don't want somebody jumping up in the middle of the flight and brushing everybody's teeth. Has that ever happened? Are there Tartar terrorists out there? Why would they even do no, gargle, go Allah. So it wasn't even terrorists like toothpaste, right? I'd understand if it was like AIM or Scope, but so he took my toothpaste. And this is why it's my favorite story. He took the toothpaste. He's like, "I'm keeping this." And I was like, "That's fine." So he picked up my bag, put it back on the conveyor belt, and it started going in the metal detectors. And right as the bag started going in, someone called me. So all of a sudden you hear coming out of the bag, "Hello, Dad." And he was like, "Is there a kid in there?" I was like, "Calm down. He doesn't have toothpaste." So it is. So I love being in Arizona. I love Clay. Thanks for having me back, man. It is so great. Yeah, Clay, man. I love how you embrace and you love comedy, even though you can't do it. Like you still, it's great, man. And everybody knows you're an undertaker, right? So I like that just because my uncle, I think I told you this, my uncle was a mortician. He didn't really talk a lot about it, but you could tell because like for Christmas I got pajamas. I got footy pajamas with a toe tag. Yeah. But I loved hanging out at his house. I'd play in the sandbox out back or what turned out to be a crematorium. And yeah. Little gross, but I did get this watch. So it is, and I love driving out here too because it's kind of. Would you consider a small town here? Okay, because I grew up in a town with 281 people in it. That's it. Like, yes, very small. Like my dad's joke was our idea of a large industrial company was basically a 200-pound Avon lady. Yeah, that's my dad's joke. I would never tell that. But it is. It was very small. We had a little school, and we had a little. It wasn't even a real store. It was called a drive-through tobacco barn. I don't even know what happened there. I guess rednecks just pulled up. We're like, "Yeah, fill her up, please." Like, it was, and that's how I grew up, and I love growing up like that. Like I was, because I love comedy, I love fight. Because my dad was one of those guys that pulled pranks on me all the time. My dad taught me how to play slug bug. You see a Volkswagen Beetle, you punch it. You guys play that? Yeah. He taught me the rules, and then he drove me to a Volkswagen dealership. There's so many other worse ones. Like, my dad actually convinced me if the ice cream van was playing music, it meant it was out of ice cream. That's pretty bad. The worst one was, it took me 6 months to catch on, but every night he had me take communion, and I thought it was because I was a strong Christian kid. And finally my brother was like, dude, he's just giving you NyQuil. So we, I know, I'm watching, you were like, yeah, that works. And that lady's like, oh, that's a good idea. But it was, so I grew up in this very, very small town. And that's why it was weird to start traveling all around and start doing shows and stuff like that. And again, I'm being serious. Thank you for having comedy, because you guys do embrace it. And we went through the whole year of not being able to do it. And my very last couple of shows, like before COVID hit, one of my last shows was actually, I did a show for 400 Amish people in Ohio. And I didn't know they were Amish. My booking agent did not tell me. Could have saved on bringing DVDs. I didn't even know they were Amish. They were a cheese-making factory. They brought me in because this neighbor had a CD of mine, and so they brought me in. And this is how dumb I am, because I'm not a smart guy. But I walked over across from my hotel was where the convention was, and there were like stagecoaches. There were like horses and buggies all in. I still didn't get it. I was like, this is the most romantic group I have ever seen. And then I walked in, and they were all Amish, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And they had, the beard, chin strap, no mustache, that. And then the men showed up, and this is a true story. And I walked in, and the main dude, his name was Jedediah. I'm not making this up. And he walked up, and he's like, man, we're so excited about you being here. And I was like trying to catch up. I was like, really? Like, you guys like comedy? And he was like, oh, yeah, we're not, like, we're fun. So it's going to be you and then a dance. And I was like, a dance? Like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, we get really buggy with it. And I was like, what? I did that. One of the other last shows was I performed for the Texas National Vegan Society. Yeah, all the vegans in Texas, all 7 were there. Yeah, and the worst part is I don't think through my show. I just get up and start talking. And I was talking to my dad before I went on stage, and we were talking about hunting, because I love, you guys hunters? I love hunting. This season, I got a 10-point buck. Yeah, you don't have to applaud. I just thought that was awesome. And it did not mess my truck up like I thought it was going to. But I went out and started doing a show they were all vegans. And I don't know why I'm always worried about offending vegans. It's not like they're going to attack me. I'm made out of meat. So thank you for having us and putting stuff on. But so I grew up in this very, very small town. My brother and I, we made money because we had a mowing company. We called it Smiley Brothers Mowing Company. We give you mower for your money. But we did. We mowed everybody's lawn, and we had a lawnmower, and we had a weed eater, and we had a leaf blower. Sorry, my brother used to call it a cat blower. I was like, come on, dude, grow up. Call it a feline flinger. Actually, I think I can tell this, because I'm always worried about offending people. But I remember you guys are kind of laid back, like you're cool. Like you love Jesus and just love to laugh. Because there's always ways to offend people. And I try not to, but like a big one, I got in trouble last week. I was talking about discipline, because my wife and I, we have 5 tax deductions, all boys. And we do. And how do you discipline your kids? Okay. You know. I wonder what that noise in the parking lot earlier was. Okay. That makes sense now. You guys spank your kids. Okay, because we do too. We have 5 boys, and I'll be honest, we do it out of love. We do it under control. We got the James Dobson Strong-Willed Child book, which, laugh if you want. That helped, because it was thick enough that when I'd spank them. I told that joke in a church in Michigan one night, and this lady came up after the show, and she was like, you're advocating child abuse. You should never spank your children. And I was like, you're a Christian. Have you read Proverbs where they talk about it? And she was like, that was different. That was the Old Testament. They didn't have time out back then. And I was like, like, yeah, they did. What was the lion's den, huh? But no, you probably don't like it now, but like I grew up getting spanked, and there were times. Actually, my dad used to lead singing at our church because my dad has a total opposite voice of mine. My dad has this deep, macho Texas voice. Like, it would echo over the neighborhood. He used to tell me to do something. Kids in other households would get up and do it. Seriously, he'd be like, take out the trash. And kids 2 doors down would be like, yes, Lord. So my dad was leading singing one time, and it was this little country church, and I was sitting down front, and my dad said, on this next song, let's stand to our feet. And I don't know why I did this, but I was like, yeah, everybody, stand to your feet. Good thing he said that. I almost stood to my liver. Yeah. We never sang that song. My dad, and nobody in the congregation said anything. My dad just shut the book, walked down. A book is like an iPad, only a little thicker. Like, okay. But no, he just shut the book, and he just walked down. He just picked me up and carried me like a football outside. Yeah. And he's a Tony Romo fan, so he fumbled me several times. We're still good? Okay, all right. But no, back to the real story. He really did. He took me out and spanked me. And I deserved it. You should never smart off to your parents. But it was embarrassing because I had, everybody could hear. And then I had to walk back in, and it was right in front of my wife. So that's how I grew up. I was this little... weird stuff would happen to me, too, that I would get in trouble with. Like, one of the worst times I ever got in trouble was I was 6 and my brother was 4, and we were jumping off our beds, which was not a big deal to me because I had the bottom bunk. And, and my brother was 4 years old, and he was about to jump off the top bunk, and there wasn't a lot of room between the top bunk and the ceiling. Yeah, especially because my dad had just put that ceiling fan in. So I'm standing there. I'm 6 years old, and I'm standing there, and I'm thinking 2 things. One, I'm thinking, oh, he's going to hit that ceiling fan. And the other thing I was thinking was, who turned the ceiling fan on? It was me. So my brother jumped, and he hit the ceiling fan so hard, it was a wicker ceiling fan, so he broke a blade off. Like, it actually broke off, and my brother screamed. You kids probably don't know this, but there's a scream that causes all parents' heads to just do this, like we all do this. I love it. We look like a squirrel eating a nut. So my brother screamed. My dad dropped the walnut, and he scurried in, and he expected to see pandemonium, but I used to get in trouble all the time, so I knew how to cover any situation. So he just burst into the room, and all he saw was me just sitting on the bed by myself, just reading my Bible. Hello, Father. But my little brother always liked to ruin things by bleeding, and little jerk. So what I'd done is as soon as he hit the ceiling fan, I grabbed him, and I stuffed him between the bed and the wall. So... when you're bleeding, you want compression, okay? And so my dad heard my brother, and so he looked down there, and my brother was looking up, and he's holding his head with one hand and ceiling fan blade with the other, and yeah, it was so cute. And my dad turned around, and I got in trouble for this, because my dad was like, you were supposed to be watching him. And I was like, I was watching him. I saw him do it. But we always got spanked, and you didn't want to get spanked by my dad, because my dad is a big, huge Texas dude. My dad weighs 280 pounds. He's 5'7". Yeah. He's always been big. I asked my grandmother, I was like, was he ever skinny like me when he was young? And she was like, no. He was born on a Thursday and a Friday. So he's a big dude. So you didn't want, because his belt was scary. His belt was this big Texas leather belt. It looked like 9 cows sewn together around him. Like, seriously, it had an udder that hung off one side. Yeah. He would spank me, milk would fly out. I'd get in trouble, and my brother would run around with a bowl of cereal. And, but my dad, he turned to me, and I knew I was going to get in trouble for this. And my dad, and all our spankings took place in the bathroom. And so my dad just said in that booming voice, he just said, "Go to the bathroom." And I was like, I just did, you know. So I was a weird little hyper kid. And actually, since we have kids, I'll tell this story because kids seem to like this story. One of the worst times I got in trouble was my parents took me and my brother and my best friend Clay. Again, we grew up in this very, very small country town. My best friend Clay, who'd moved into town, he was not like any of us country kids. He was goth. Do you guys have goth here? You know what I'm talking about? Like, have all the face piercings, the eyebrow, the nose ring, looked like they fell face first into a tackle box. You know, like, and he was the first kid to ever wear baggy pants. We'd never seen that. And parents were going ballistic about baggy pants. And I don't know why. I'm an adult now, and I love baggy pants because I got a lot of friends that are police officers, and they like baggy pants because they can catch people so much quicker, right? Because they can't run from the cops because their pants are here. I'm surprised they don't, they're like, "Oh, it's the cops. Hurry, waddle as fast as you can." I'm like, why don't they just hide in their pants? Like, "Oh, it's the cops." Right? So my best friend Clay, so my parents took me, my brother, and Clay into a bigger town, and they took us to the, see, I haven't told this story in a long time, the Kiddie Casino, the place where kids gamble. Chuck E. Cheese, yes, okay. Thank you. That's a casino for children, right? And they don't even hide it anymore. You got to go through a turnstile. There's no clocks on the wall. There's a 6-foot mafia rat walking around. So my parents dropped us off, and I love these people, man. I know you're not supposed to stop in the middle of your show, but thank you again. This is so much fun. Because I love doing comedy, and I didn't get to do it for about a year and a half. And you mentioned Dry Bar. My Dry Bar came out, and I love putting my stuff online. I just can't read the comments. That's just brutal. Yeah, I had to block my dad. I remember my Dry Bar came out, and I was super excited because it came out in March when everybody had to quarantine. And so I honestly thought, not that I'm really good at this, but I just thought, there's going to be people at home that need to laugh. And so maybe this is a blessing. Maybe this is God's timing, the way it came out. And when it came out, that I was sitting in front of my computer, and it came on Facebook, and you're watching it live, and I was like, I can read the comments, and I normally don't. But I was like, there's going to be people that are needing encouragement. And so it started playing, and I was like, here we go. And the first comment popped up, and it just said, "I thought Robin Williams was dead." Okay, second comment, and you can go back and look at this. Second comment, no, he's not Robin Williams. He looks like Robin Williams if he grew up near a nuclear plant. So, okay, the haters are here. The haters that live in their mom's basement and are taking a break from reading The Hobbit the 4th time to write something mean, but I'm not going to make fun of them. So there were several Robin Williams. The best one was, he doesn't look like Robin Williams at all. He looks like Conan O'Brien and the guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway had a baby and couldn't afford to feed the baby. I was like, that is hilarious. But I was reading all the comments, and it was all about the way I look. And I don't care. This is the way God made me, so I'm fine. Like, I don't care. When I was born, my ears were this big. Can you guys in the back, can you feel the breeze? And the worst part about having big ears was we grew up poor, like really poor. Like had to eat cereal with a fork to save on milk. And everybody get it that's going to get it? Okay, I see somebody explaining. I'll wait. No child left behind. Anyway, so we did it. So I grew up poor, so my mom made all our clothes. And so she thought that green brought my eyes out. So everything she made for me was green. And I didn't know how to tell my mom, you don't take a kid with big ears and put him in a green outfit, okay? I look like a leprechaun. Like, seriously, kids would come up to me at recess and be like, hey, Bob, you look magically delicious. So I don't care. People can make fun. So I was reading all these comments, and nothing was about the comedy. It was all about, like, how I looked and how I was dressed and all that kind of stuff. And the worst one was it said, he looks like Robert Englund before the burn. Okay, do you know who Robert Englund is? I didn't know. I had to look it up. Who is it? Freddy Krueger. Okay, first of all, that is a scary voice. I feel like Freddy Krueger answered the question about Freddy Krueger. Who is it? Freddy Krueger. But I didn't know who, and I looked it up, and it is. Robert Englund was Freddy Krueger. And I couldn't even get mad at his comment because I didn't help my cause, because I immediately wrote back to him, I will haunt you in your dreams. But there was all these comments, and it was all this stuff, and I was like, is anybody getting the comedy? Is this blessing anybody? And finally, and I'm not saying this to brag on myself, but finally, something popped up. Somebody posted of what I was looking for, and it just said, man, we're all in a dark time, and a lot of uncertainty. Thank you for using your gift from God to just bring a little bit of joy into our house. We need it. Isn't that great? And I was looking at that, and I was like, that is why I made that second Facebook account, so I could write what other people should have been writing. So I love doing shows, and it was weird because shows, like, all my shows canceled, and you were one of the first ones to have it, like to bring it back. Yeah, so kudos to you. I was doing shows, but I was doing it in weird shows. I did a show in California. This is a real town. It was Weed, California. Yeah. What? You know what I'm talking about? You were there this summer? Okay, all right. We'll talk after the show, but it was just so weird. Because the church I was at was up on it was way up on a mountain kind of deal. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. It was about a mile high. And no, it was way up on a hill. The only reason why I mention it is because my road manager was with me, and he's a little overweight. He weighs 420, and he... This part's not funny, because we got to the top of the mountain, and he, twisted his, what do you call it? He rolled a joint. No, I'm not talking, I know it's Weed, California, but you're just going like this. I'm not, no, he did. He twisted his foot, and he just, tumbled over and over. Talk about rolling a fatty. Stop. He actually got hurt. He rolled all the way down. He hit a stop sign. It went bong. There are a lot of Christians with a past here. But no, anyway, it was a fun deal. It was a cool church, but it just was weird, And then I remember the pastor, I was in the green room, and the pastor brought his daughter in, Mary Jane, and stop. Anyway, she was in the brownies, and I could do this all night. But no, that was one of my shows. So I got these weird little shows and stuff. And so when we came here, man, it was a good crowd. It was fun and embraced comedy. So anyway, just thank you guys. Okay, so back to my Chuck E. Cheese story. I didn't forget. Yes. You were going to get me. I know you're back there. Yeah. Medication is working. So my parents dropped me and my brother and my best friend Clay off, and I did really well at the skee ball table that night. I left 200 tickets up, and now I know who gambles. You laughed really quick on that. That's great. And I'm not judging you. I gamble. Actually, I gambled today. I had Chinese food. Yeah. You said I'm brave, but I know the house is going to win. So anyway, when I cashed out, I got one of these rubber sticky hand things. You know what I'm talking about? You can sling out and around. I love those things. So I got back in the car, and again, my dad loves to pull pranks on me. And so one of the worst, actually I just thought of another prank. So we did grow up poor, and so my dad told me one time that we were too poor to afford a dog. So he was like, if a burglar breaks in, you need to bark at him. Yeah. And it happened my freshman year in high school, actually. This is a true story. My dad was a superintendent. This kid who graduated didn't like my dad. So he broke in our house in the middle of the night. Don't leave. Are you leaving? Are you coming after me? Oh, okay. You're getting Kleenex. 20 minutes after he sneezed. It would be, I don't know, it'd be funny if you just got a whole bunch of Kleenex and just put it in there and it's like, you guys are awesome. But no, so, now I don't remember what I was talking about. What was it? Oh, yeah, the rubber stamp. Oh, yeah, so this kid broke into my dad's, in our house in the middle of the night, and I didn't know it was a kid, though, so I'm scared to death because I'm only a freshman, right? So I'm laying in bed going, what am I going to do? I'm only 17. And you guys are so judgmental. Anyway, I took the covers off, and I just crept down the hallway, and I looked in the living room, and that's whenever I recognized it was a kid, and I recognized who it was, so I got a little more, courage. But I also remember that my dad told me we were too poor to afford a dog, so I had to borrow. So I don't know why I just ran into the living room and just went. It worked. You guys got to do it. It was awesome. He just froze. Then he let me smell his hand. My dad came in. He's so proud of me. He came over and he rubbed my belly. So anyway, so back to the story. So my dad always liked to pull little pranks on me and stuff. So whenever we got in the car and we were driving away from Chuck E. Cheese, he turned on country music. Now, I'm not against country music. I'm sure there's country music fans here tonight. There's some good country music, but the country music station that my dad put on was that mindless get in the middle of your brain and eat your brain from the inside out. You know what I'm talking about? Like, lang, 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 lang. And I know he was doing it to bug me, but my dad also has the rule that you don't talk to him while he's driving, because my dad's not a good driver. That sounds mean. I love my dad. He's not a good, I'm a worse driver than him. What are we in, March? Is it March? Yeah. Oh, I've been in 2 wrecks already this year. So that's how bad so I'm not making fun of him. The last wreck I was in, it was bad. Nobody was hurt, but I hit, what's the big vehicle where everybody gets mad at you if you hit it? Not a school bus? No. Although I had to ride the school bus when I was in high school, and I hated that little thing. No, it's where everybody gets mad. A hearse. Oh, they were mad. They all jumped out of their cars. I was like, everybody calm down. I didn't kill him. So my dad has the rule that you don't talk to him while he's driving because he gets a lot of road rage. You guys have road rage here. Yeah. I got on a Jackrabbit Road. I got in some road rage. I'm pausing now because I hope he's not here. I was turning from whatever other road it was, and I don't. All I know about this dude is he drives a Ford truck, and he does not like to get cut off in traffic. That's all I know about him, right? But I pulled up next to him, and where he was like, it looked like he was turning, but he was just coming up, and I just looked at him, and he was doing this, which I now realize means roll down the window. But also, some people use substitution. Instead of using the bad symbol, they'll just come up with their own. That's what I thought. I started laughing, too, because I was like, what kind of substitution is that? Oh, yeah? Cut me off, will you? Take this. But he's doing this, and I'll be honest, I have not rolled down a window like this in years, so I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, what is it? I don't have a Jack in the Box. What do you want me to do? And then I finally realized, and I thought maybe he's doing substitution. But that's what my dad does. When my dad gets mad, he uses substitution, which is funny because he's a Christian, so he doesn't swear. So he uses substitution words. He uses words from the Old Testament. Yeah, it's so great. One time he slammed his hand in a car door, and he was like, ow, Shadrach. Oh, son of a Abednego. So read your Bible, children. Anyway, it is part of the story, trust me. So we're sitting in the back, and my dad put on country music, and it was this really bad country music. But my dad has a rule, you don't talk to him, and I obeyed my parents. I don't have a joke for that. I really did. And I watched my friends not obey their parents, and I watched my friends make a lot of mistakes. So I don't have a joke for it, but I really was pretty obedient. And so I'm sitting in the back, and I'm like, oh, I wish there was something I could do. I wish I could. And then I was like, hey. And I had a rubber sticky hand thing. So I thought to myself, I bet you I can sling that between my mom and my dad and hit a radio button and change the channel. Don't shake your head. That's a pretty smart move. Come on. So I prayed about it. You always pray before you do any kind of mission work. So I didn't know if it'd work or not, but all of a sudden I was just like that. Not only did the hand go straight between my mom and my dad, and not only did it hit a radio button, it hit my button. I was able to program whatever I wanted to channel number 2, so it was 97.1, the Eagle out of Dallas, Texas, which is a rock channel. You know it? Okay. Did you DJ there? I just can't get over your voice, dude. It's like totally opposite of mine. I want you to hang out at my house because I'm the dad, so I'm the protector of the family, like me. And I always feel bad with this voice. Like if you were a burglar breaking in downstairs and I was at the top of the stairs, would this scare you? Like, you better not be down there. Like, I'm like the only guy in Texas that can stand at the top of the stairs and go, you better get out or I'll call my husband. Like, what? But you know the radio station, 97.1, yeah. And so we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden the radio, I hit it with the rubber sticky hand thing. The radio changed from lang, 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 lang to welcome to the jungle. And my dad was like, ah! Or he screamed, but in a man's voice. It was way too loud. But no, he was wigging out because he didn't know I had this hand thing. So he later told me he thought, both my parents actually thought that Satan had possessed their radio. Because all they knew is this weird voice just started coming out of the radio. And my parents are ultra-conservative Christians. They're amazing people. I'm so fortunate to grow up as a kid with my parents. They taught me truly to love Jesus and about grace and all this stuff. But they were very conservative. And when they thought Satan had possessed their radio, they started doing things I'd never seen my conservative Christian parents do. My dad laid hands on the radio and started praying over it. He had never done that before. My mom tried to talk in tongues for the very first time in her life. And I could tell she was faking. She was like, about a Mazda, should about a Honda. And I was like, Daniel, where are you going? Did you get a positive response on the Tinder? Okay. Oh, you're going to the bathroom? Okay, I don't want to embarrass you. Gonna go tinky winky? No. That kid's a good sport. He's not one of yours, though, right? Is your neighbor? This whole row, you guys are awesome. So anyway, they were wigging out because they thought Satan had possessed her. But so all of a sudden I was like, boom, boom, back in my hand, back in my pocket, and then I'm sitting there, and my dad didn't even know what happened. He just goes, what just happened? And I thought, oh, I just got away with it. And my brother was like, he did it. And I was like, oh. Shadrach. So my dad didn't even ask me what I did. He just looked in the rearview mirror and he goes, I don't even care what you did. Don't you ever, ever do it again. And again, I obeyed my parents. So when he said don't do it again, I wasn't going to do it again. But I think Don't laugh. I think you'll back me up. A Billy Ray Cyrus song came on right then, okay? Thank you. I think even on Judgment Day, God's going to go, yeah, I totally understand. Why you didn't want your achy, breaky head to hear that tune again. So I couldn't take it anymore. So I pulled out the rubber sticky hand thing. I was like, I'm just going to do it one more time. So all of a sudden, I was like that. Not only was the hand going straight back between my mom and my dad, and not only was it going back, it was going right back to channel number 2. I was like, here we go again. It didn't happen, though, because my brother, who, by the way, is not a comedian, he thought it'd be hilarious to bump my arm right as the hand got by my dad's face. So let's recap this story, shall we? My dad doesn't know I have this hand thing. So all he knows now is a big, gooey hand has now reached out of the seat and grabbed him. Which would really scare you, especially if you thought Satan had just possessed your radio. So he starts screaming, a demon's got me, a demon's got me. So he grabs the hand, he throws it up against the windshield, it splats up huge. He's like, oh my goodness, he rolls down the window, grabs it, throws it out. I scare him even more by going, my hand! I remember thinking it can't get worse than this. My brother turned around and goes, that is so cool. That landed right in the center of that cop's windshield. That was me growing up, and I was just this weird hyper kid and stuff. And weird stuff even happens. In 2019, before COVID shut everything down, I almost got punched in the face because of a joke. So I've been doing stand-up for a long time, and I love it. I love doing this. But there's a couple of things I don't like. One, I have to get up super early. I had to get up at 4 a.m. this morning to catch a flight here. Not complaining, totally worth it. But I'm not a morning person. Anybody here a morning person? Anybody? Whoa, got a lot of morning people. Oh. Yeah, you are? That's awesome. We don't like you. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm not saying you're not, all you morning people, I'm not saying you're not going to heaven with us, okay? I'm just saying, when you get there, can you wait till 9 a.m. before you start flapping your wings in our face? Like, I'm not a morning person. And this particular morning, I almost got punched. I had to get up at 2 a.m. And this is how tired I was, actually. Well, two things. One, I woke up and my leg was asleep, but I didn't realize it because I was so out of it. So I actually tried to stand up, and I fell on the floor. And my dog came over and started licking me on the face, thinking I was down there to play. And the worst part is then my leg started waking up. It felt like 1,000 ants crawling all over me, so I started shaking my leg. My dog starts licking my face faster, thinking I'm enjoying myself. This is the other thing that I did. I realized I was too tired. I hope I'm not the only one in the room that's done this. You ever been so tired you've been brushing your teeth and missed your mouth? Has anybody done that? Okay, you have? Okay, you've done that? Good. I was all like, I guess I'm shaving. So I got to the airport, and I was flying to Detroit. I love Detroit. I don't know if anybody has been there. So I was there. I was in Detroit like 3 weeks ago. Anyway, it was fun. They took me around, showed me how to draw a chalk outline of a body, and so I got on the plane. And when I got on the plane, I just wanted to go to sleep, right? But I kind of got into it. There was like a 3-foot male flight attendant who was like fresh out of the Shire, and no. He was an angry hobbit, and he was, because I just walked on. I didn't even say anything. I grabbed a pillow. I did grab it out of first class. I shouldn't have done that, but I was so tired. Grabbed the pillow out of first class, and he immediately grabbed it out of my hand. He was like, these are for first class passengers. You're in coach. And I was going to argue, but he'd already put the ring on and disappeared. And so I took my seat, and I was in bulkhead, which is the front of coach. And so I was there, and the only reason why I mentioned that is because then when he had to do his announcements, he was standing right beside me, and he was staring at me the whole time. I know, it was awkward, but I'm kind of glad he did because I have never listened to the announcements before. And there's 2 announcements I can't believe they make. One, in the event of a water crash landing, you can use your seat cushion as a flotation device. Okay, I don't think you're thinking it through. If I'm ever in a really scary crash, the seat cushion I was just sitting on, I don't want that thing anywhere near me, right? Plus, I'm not going to hug it tightly to my chest, okay? And the other announcement is even more dangerous. I thought when the oxygen mask falls, oxygen started flowing, but it doesn't. It says to start the flow of oxygen. Yeah, you've heard it. Is that what you're talking about? Well, no, the lady behind you, because you did this. You're supposed to pull down, to start the flow of oxygen, tug lightly on the tube. Well, let's rethink that scenario. Who's going to be going 10,000 miles an hour in a mountain going, ah! Hee-hee! Like, what? So we took off, and even though we were going to Detroit, I had a layover in Alabama. I love Alabama also. It's a little too close to Texas, where I live. So when I land, I forget to set my watch back 10 years. Now, anybody from Alabama? Nobody? Okay, good. I love them. It's just there's stereotypes everywhere. There's always stereotypes, you know. Like you say New York, you think forget about it, or you say California, you know, like surf's up, dude, or you say Texas, you think really good-looking comedian. I was in Canada a month ago. What do you think of whenever I say Canada? What's the stereotype that you guys know of? Yeah, A is a big one. They always say. That's why I always think Canadian geese, they should be like, honk, eh? Just a big furry hat with a chin strap. But yeah, what's another stereotype of Canadian people? Too polite. They're too polite. They're too polite. That's what I thought. I almost got in a fight. This isn't the story I started to tell, but I almost got in a fight with a Canadian about a month ago, and it was kind of a dumb fight. It was, I guess, a polite fight. We got in a fight over who was going to hold the door for who at a coffee shop. I know that's dumb, but he reached for it, and I reached for it, and I'm a nice guy. I'm from Texas, so I was like, no, after you, and he was like, no, let me get it, and I was like, no, me, and then, I was like, he's not going to go to war over this. He's from Canada. That wasn't a mean thought, because he was judging me, too, because I had a shirt that had the shape of Texas on it, so he was looking for my gun, and but it got heated. I had to move around, Casey tried to give me a free healthcare exam, and yeah, that went on forever. Thankfully, somebody from Detroit was there and came over and stabbed us both. So, but it is stereotypes. But I love all people. So if I make a joke, I hope I don't offend you guys, because I love all people. I love almost everybody. That sounds mean. I love 99.99% of people. So half. So you just can't love everybody, right? Can we all agree with that? It's hard. Okay. The guy who calls me every single week because he's saying that it's a last chance to extend my warranty, okay? All right. If I run into that guy, I'm going to extend his larynx, okay? I don't like that guy, okay? Or I don't like people that they turn their brights back on before they pass me. You guys know what I'm talking about? I actually love the moment where you come over the hill and you both dim your lights in the car together. I don't know why, but I just think, oh, we care about each other. It's a cool moment. But then right before they get past me, back on bright. I'm like, what? You know what I do? I carry a spotlight. I'm just like, So I don't like that guy. I don't like police officers who get mad if you shine a spotlight in their car as they're going by. That's hypocritical. So that was a little too personal. So anyway, the warranty guy, the bright light guy, hypocrites, that's it. I love everybody else, is what I'm trying to say. I don't like the guy that talks on the phone when he's supposed to be checking out at the grocery store. Okay? Does that bother anybody else? Hang up. I think we ought to be able to take one of those plastic dividers, and if they don't hang up when it's time to pay, I think we ought to be able to whap them one time. A little Christian whap, hey, it's the express lane, not the express yourself lane, okay? So, but I love most people. Anyway, so back to my story. So, what was my story? How did I get off on all that? Oh, the fight. So I was in Alabama, it's Birmingham, so I had to change terminals. So this is the other thing I don't like about my job. My last name really is Smiley, which is a great last name for a comedian. It is the worst last name if you have to show your ID to a TSA person, because they all make the exact same joke. It happened this morning. I was flying out of Houston, show my ID. They all look at it and go, oh, Smiley, how come you're not smiling? You got a last name Smiley. You ought to smile all the time. We're going to call you Mr. Frowny, Mr. Smiley. Let's see that smile. And all I could think of is, I'm so close to your gun. But I have to smile, because one time I didn't smile. One time I got dropped off. It was in the middle of the night. I had been on a tour called Festival con Dios, which was like 11 Christian bands, Christian road, everything was Christian. Like, even our bathroom, we had 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And I was so tired, I just wanted to get on the plane. And the TSA guy would not drop it. He just kept going, Smiley, I haven't seen you smile at all. You've been standing in line, you're not smiling now, not smiling in the photo. Is your last name really Smiley? Why aren't you smiling? He just kept saying it. And finally I just snapped. And I was like, do you really want to know why I'm not smiling? And he goes, yeah, love to know it, Mr. Smiley, if that's your real last name. And I just snapped. And I was like, all right, I'm going to tell you, it's 4 a.m. And ever since 9/11, I got to be at the airport 2 hours early in order to get groped before enjoying all my freedom. And I have to take my shoes off thanks to the shoe bomber. Don't get me wrong, glad he picked shoes and not a shirt, because I don't have the abs to pull that off. I'm also going to be delayed because I'm standing in front of the world's largest redneck who has a belt buckle big enough to serve tea on, but he can't figure out what's setting off the metal detectors. And that doesn't even matter, because we both know I'm not going to fly today, because you're looking at my ticket. It says American Airlines, so we both know I'm going to get delayed, I'm going to get canceled, I'm going to get rebooked back here tomorrow where I get to try it all over again. But if it makes you feel any better, so I'm glad you guys like that, because all I remember after that was, wow. His hands are cold. So, okay, so here's the story where I almost got punched. Here's the story. So I'm standing there. I have to go through the metal detectors again because they were doing construction. And so I got my ID out. I'm getting ready to smile. And I was by myself. It was a lot like prom. And so when I'm by myself, I like to listen to people. And so I'm listening, and I hear these two guys behind me. And one of them goes, hey, when's Thanksgiving? And I hear the other one pull out his phone and go, November 26th. Huh, on a Thursday. Who said, oh my goodness? You got it right away. Yes. Okay, it worries me that not everybody got it right away. If you didn't get it, Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday, okay? And if you didn't get it, don't feel bad. I told this story in Oklahoma, and a lady down front yelled out, why is it funny it's on a Thursday? And just as a joke, a little ad lib, I go, how long were you in public school? And her response was so much better. She goes, 3 years, but I hated teaching. So thank you for getting it immediately, because I got it immediately and I started laughing. November 26th, on a Thursday. Before I could even laugh and respond, though, I started laughing, but the other one goes, huh, it was on a Thursday last year. You know what? I bet it's a leap year. And thank you. I did what you did. I laughed because it was funny. But instead of laughing, you know what I should have done? I should have turned around first. I have never seen guys this big in my entire life. Seriously. They were like human room dividers, okay? One guy could not shake his head no because his shoulder meat wouldn't let him, okay? And I am not as strong as I look. So, that's a little too much. It's okay to laugh a little bit, but no, I am very weak. Again, God made me this way, so I'm fine with it. But this is how weak I am. Can't believe I'm about to. One day I was walking through a park. This is how weak I really am. I walked through a gigantic spider web and got caught. I am a grown adult, and I just kept trying to break. Even the spider was like, I guess I'll eat ya. You know, like. So I'm standing for these two big dudes, and the biggest one looks at me, and he goes, are you laughing at us? Here's my dilemma. I am a Christian. I know, but what do we do? What do? We tell the truth. But sometimes the truth will not set you free. And I apologize because we have good, godly, looks like you guys are good, godly men. Do not ever lie. But I was scared to death because the big one was like, you laughing at us? And I was like, no, I was actually laughing at one of my kids. He told me a joke. I have 5 kids that really love their dad. And I was thinking of a joke that they told me, and I just laughed. I just turned around to see what the big shadows were, and it was you guys. So I'm going to turn back around now. Before I could turn around, he goes, you were thinking of a joke that your kid told you? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, let's hear the joke. Now everybody in the TSA line stops and looks at me. Guys, I don't even know where this joke came from. I don't remember ever hearing this joke. It definitely was the wrong joke to tell these 2 knuckle draggers, but this is the joke I told in the Birmingham airport. I was like, okay, what did one glowworm say to the other glowworm? You glow, girl. I'm like, what? It was the dumbest joke in the world. And before I could even turn around or anything, the biggest one went like this. Like he had made a fist. I was going to get punched in the face for telling a glowworm joke. But then the other one threw me a lifeline. He just looked at me and he goes, is there something wrong with you? And I've been asked that a lot. But never has it been a good thing. And then I thought, if they think something's wrong with me, if they think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, maybe they'll leave me alone. And so because I'd just flown with the Hobbit, I decided to get all Gollum on him. So I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. No, tell him about your problem. No, you got to tell him. Nah. I'm so sorry, gentlemen. I get really stressed out when it's the leap year. And so I get in trouble so much. And so that's one of the quarantine. If you'll come tomorrow, because I'm going to be here tomorrow, I'm going to be doing some preaching. I'll do some comedy as well. It's going to be kind of like Bob Smiley decaf. But I'm going to talk a lot about God because there was a lot of uncertainty throughout 2020 and 2021 and stuff. And I think I shared this last time, but we're a blended family. My wife and I are a blended family. We did meet online, and it was MySpace, and it was awesome. We were the only 2 left, and but we're a blended family, and we got married right before quarantine, like right before, and the wedding was so great because I'm very cheap. I don't know if you guys follow me or know a lot about me, but I'm very frugal. Like on our first date, I didn't get her flowers; I got her seeds, and yeah. And my wife is not. My wife, she spends money. In fact, the first 3 months we were dating, I thought she was giving monthly to an orphanage in Germany because I did not know what Nordstrom's was. So we spend money differently in that she spends money and I don't. And so I thought the wedding was going to be a struggle because we were paying for it. But I actually told her, I was like, hey, anything that we save on the wedding, we can put toward building our house back, and changing stuff around the house. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I'd ever be out cheaped. Like she was like, okay, seriously, we can put all the money into stuff on the house? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, okay. And then 2 hours later, she was like, all right, wedding's planned. I was like, what? What about invitations? She was like, I emailed everybody. I was like, okay. What about a cake? She was like, Betty Crocker gets an invite. And I was like, all right, what about music? And she was like, DJ Alexa just confirmed. And I was like, it's outdoors. What about chairs? And she was like, BYOC, bring your own chair, baby. And I was like, this is awesome. I was so in love. And it was so cheap. And, and I asked her because she wanted to release doves. I was like, do you still want to release doves? And she was like, yeah, but I told everybody to bring a shotgun, and that'll take care of dinner. And it was so amazing. And so we got married and in front of our family and our friends, and I gave her a ring, or I bought her a ringtone. And I'm cheap. And so it was a great wedding. It turned out to be awesome, and it didn't cost us a lot. Everybody had a blast. Some people did get mad that we charged for parking. Those people did not buy anything from my merchandise table. And but it was so great. And we got married. Then we went to JCPenney's, returned the dress, and it was awesome. And this is the first time, the first time I realized that I was completely in love with this woman. This won't mean anything to you women. but I think the guys will track with me. The first time I realized I truly loved her and would do anything, she asked me to go under her purse and get something, and I did it. Okay? Now, I love the women looking at me like, what? And I see the guys like, you did? You know what I'm talking about. Women, we don't want to go in your purse. We don't know what's in there. That is an abyss. Okay? We don't know what we'll accidentally touch. We might break something. We might spill something. There may be a small dog in there. We don't know. But she asked me, she was like, will you get my car keys? And I was like, yeah. And she even knew it was a big deal because she does have a big, and she helped me. She was like, here's what you do. You go in through the second opening. You go past the caboodle, down past the hair ties. There's a secret red zipper. Unlock that. Then there is a small metal compartment in there. It's about, it's like a rectangle. The combination is 8828. Open that. Under the granola bars are my car keys. If you get to the Blockbuster gift card, you have gone too far. And do not let the dog out. And and so it was so great. Like we had this great, and she has 2 kids. I think I shared this last time, but she has 2 boys, and it's great, man. The first time I ever talked to her, this is kind of embarrassing, but first time I ever talked to her on the phone, I was like, how many kids do you have? Because I didn't know she had kids. She was like, I have 2 kids. And I don't know why I did this, but I was like, ugh. I know, that's terrible, isn't it? It's horrible. It is. This is what she said to me. This is a glimpse in my wife's heart. She goes, what do you mean, And I was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, but I don't know if I want more kids. And she immediately said, you know what, I hope you get this mindset. No matter what happens between you and me, 2 more kids is 2 more opportunities to love and to be loved. And it's 2 more opportunities to allow children to see what a heavenly Father's love looks like through an earthly father. Isn't that beautiful? And I was like, oh, that's absolutely true. And then she was like, how many kids do you have? And I said 3, and we got disconnected. And but so we do. We have, whoa, I'm way over time, aren't I? We still good? So we have 5 kids now. We're a blended family. And so, do you guys think technology makes it easier or harder? Thank you. Okay. It is. Our 11-year-old came into my office the other day and was like, hey, I created a cartoon on my iPad, and I want to upload it to my FTP site, but I forgot my password. Can you help me? And I was like, I don't even know what you just said. I did. Thankfully, my oldest son was there, and he was like, Mason, what did we say about using big words in front of Dad? And because I didn't know. And he had created a cartoon on his iPad. He wanted to upload it onto his FTP site for something. And I was like, I wasn't doing that when I was, 11. When I was 11, I was probably most like you guys, right? I was like, this glue tastes good. I wasn't uploading it. Anybody remember when uploading meant just putting something in your nose? Anybody? Okay, good. Do you guys have a story? You're like nodding really quick. I have a terrible story. I got a crayon stuck in my nose. It was bad. And it wasn't my fault. Or it was. I put it there. But I put it there. It doesn't matter why I put it there, but I just put it in my nose, and then a friend of mine called me, and I used to get distracted all the time when I was a kid. Thank goodness I got over that. And I had the crayon in my nose, and one of my friends goes, Bob, and I go, yeah. And it broke. Ooh, it was horrible. I was like, yeah! I smell jungle green. And the worst part is I went into my dad's office, and I was like, I got crayon stuck in my nose. We got to go to the hospital. But we were poor, so my dad was like, we're not going to go to the hospital. We live in Texas. Stand outside. It's hot. It'll melt. By the way, you really want to scare your friends? Have jungle green pour out of your nose. So it was, and I love getting to say all those father things, things that my dad used to say to me that I thought I would never say to my kids, like quit crying or I'll give you something to cry about, or don't make me come up there, or, hide in this box till company leaves, or that may be a Texas thing. Or I get to say the dumbest stuff, Like I've actually had to say with a straight face, nope. Chicken pot pie does not have pot in it. I'm glad you guys are laughing, because I told that joke, and it's not a joke. I actually really did have to say that. But I told that at a show in California or in Colorado, and a guy down front goes, "Ours does." So we have 5 boys now. We have 5 boys, and so if you guys are prayer warriors, we would appreciate it. It's a lot. It really is. And church, I'll talk about this tomorrow morning, but man, we're built for community, and like we need help raising our kids, and that's why it's great to have a church. You know, we go to a church a lot like this, like just people love on each other. Like it's amazing. And who was talking about? You guys were talking about prayer. Like how cool is it that we can talk to the Creator? You know, we could fall asleep talking. I used to think that made God mad. My grandmother was the one that told me. She was like, no, you can pray till you fall asleep. And because I thought that'd make God mad. You know, God was like, did he just fall asleep? I bet a little Charlie horse would wake him up. I would. If I was God, I would come through the ceiling. I'd be like, ah! Tonight the bed bugs will bite. You know, right? But it's great. We can just talk to God. We can do stuff, you know. And anybody, by the way, you guys, how many kids? You have 5? So you have 5 too. Do you have any of them that sneak up on you? Like think it's funny to sneak up on you? Or have you raised them correctly? You like to do that? Okay, I didn't want to point you out, but you look like the kind of kid who do that. So stop it. It's so creepy. You know what I'm talking about? You think you're by yourself, and you're just like, ah! Thought I was in the stall by myself, right? The worst is at night. Do you sneak up on them in the middle of the night? You go, you do? Don't do that. Our 11-year-old thinks it's hilarious. Like 2 a.m. I don't even know why. I'll just open my eyes. Boom, right there. And the worst part is he never says anything. He just stands there. Like at any moment he's going to be like, mwah! But he doesn't. He'll stand there for like 10 minutes just holding the kitchen knife. And you guys know that's a joke. I'm from Texas. It's a gun. So I'm going to close with a couple of really quick stories. Before I do, because we are built for community and we should love on each other. And I was here in November. And my wife and I, we started working for an organization called Destiny Rescue, and they save children from human trafficking. During the quarantine, my wife and I, we dove in the Bible a lot, and we read Psalms 82, and it talks about, like, saving people from the wicked. And so we were like, okay, we were looking for a different kind of ministry to be a part of because everything was kind of on hold. And so we got involved with Destiny Rescue. They save children. They do it in so many different ways. They do it online, through all this cyber stuff, and they bust all these rings and stuff. In fact, the reason why I'm telling you this is because a lot of you guys, last time, you partnered with Destiny Rescue. I've got packets over there, and they just look for partnerships. There's no set amount, you know. Some people donate, $10 a month. Some do it, $40. I had somebody, anyway, it doesn't matter, but somebody donate a lot. And it's just a monthly thing where you're just partnering with them. So I just want to give you guys an update because last time I was here, they had saved right at 6,000 kids whenever I came here, and so I asked for updates. So last year in 2021, they arrested, because they'll go into these places and they'll pose as customers, and they start talking to the girls or the kids or whatever, and they get a secret plan to be able to rescue them out, and then they bust the rings. And so this last year, 2021, they arrested 147 traffickers on 92 raids. And a lot of the stuff, the way they rescue the kids is people try to talk kids into going with them across the border on a paid vacation, and if they can get them across the border, they're gone forever. And so they put people at the border patrols that are trained to be able to recognize these situations, and so they can stop them and rescue them right there. So they rescued, just last year, 2,386 children, and 70% of them were under 18, and then the rest of it was 19, 20. Anyway, and they had 1,212 children enter their reintegration program. Sometimes they can't put them back to the families because sometimes the families will just sell them. And so that, I know it's terrible, but you guys are making a difference. So I just wanted to give you guys that update because last time I was here, I talked about it being over my table, and a lot of you guys came over and partnered with them. So I just want to say thank you. You guys are making a huge difference. And so I wanted to kind of set that up. And I do have a merch table over there. Don't feel like you got to go support my 5 children. But I do. You have my favorite shirt on, actually. I had my neighbor came up, because Jesus gets misquoted so many times, and my neighbor came up to me one time, and he's like, yeah, it's like Jesus said, with great power comes great responsibility. I was like, is that in first or second Spider-Man? So I have a shirt that just has a drawing of Jesus, and it just said, I never said that. And I love wearing that shirt because you get a lot. Did you get it last time you were here? Do you get comments about it and stuff where people ask? I love that. I wear it in the airport, and people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, what did he say? And we get to talk about what he said. And a lot of what he talked about is loving on other people. So I want to tell this real quick story. This happened years ago. It's going to sound like I'm bragging, but when you're hugely famous like me, I am famous, and the worst part is I'm always having to tell everyone. But when you're famous, you get to join all these exclusive clubs. So I belong to the YMCA, and I do. So the first time I went, I didn't know what to do. I'd heard swimming was good, so I was swimming out front, and I was getting a lot of laps in, and I was finding a lot of coins. And I didn't know. I found out quickly, though, because the YMCA in Texas, they have all these trainers with, like, the bulging biceps and the, Her name was Julie. And she came and yelled at me. She was like, get out of our fountain. So I had to put the coins back. So they took me inside, and inside they had an Olympic-sized pool. And so I got in the outside lane. I was going to swim, and in the lane next to me was the oldest dude I'd ever seen in my entire life, okay? Like, no, old, like late hundreds, okay? Seriously. He was like 2 weeks away from being a greeter at Walmart. And and I have always loved elderly people. I think they are the coolest people in the world. Even when I was a kid, one of the smartest things I did was I had my great-grandparents still alive. I got to hang out with both sets of my grandparents, my great-grandparents. Elderly people have the coolest stories. They truly know how to love. Like, they're amazing. And so I always hung out with them. And some kids are like, I don't want to talk to my grandparents. Their mind is going. They say weird stuff. I'm like, dude, that's the best time to talk to them. It's like channel surfing. You never know what's on. So I love elderly people. So I had to talk to this dude. So I was like, hey, good morning. And I guess he couldn't see very well because he was like, good morning, ma'am. And it's my cross to bear. So I talked to him, and he told me some funny stories. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to swim. And he goes, okay, but before you go, can I ask you a question? And I was like, yes, sir, what? And he goes, do you think I'm old? I know. And I didn't even know if I heard him right because I was preoccupied because my body was starting to tingle from all the Bengay in the pool. And and I go, what? And he goes, do you think I'm old? And I was like, that or you've been in the water way too long. He goes, I'm 96 years old, and I bet I can outswim you. Well, part of being a good Christian, I talk about this. Oh, I was going to tell this because, again, if you guys want to go to the merch table, especially if you would like to partner with Destiny Rescue, that would be awesome. If you do partner, you get a free DVD. Over there I have DVDs. But the last time I talked about I write for Focus on the Family. I write for their Clubhouse magazine, for the junior high magazine, and I write this character called Average Boy, and they let me write 2 comedy/devotional books for middle school kids. And so I had those books here last time, and it's for ages like 7 to 13, and I love the kids are reading these funny stories where they're getting devotions and stuff. I am going to promote this. So I got to write a 3rd Average Boy book. And since we already have the 2 devotional books, this is just Average Boy's Above Average Year. So it's just a whole year of funny adventures and stuff. Still talks a lot about Jesus, but it's not a devotion book. But it just came out last week. And again, I'm not bragging on this. I'm just saying I love how God will take stuff. It hit #1 on Amazon pre-sale before it came out in the religious category. That's not all over this stuff. But for it to be, for a kid's book, he's going to buy one right now. That's awesome. But I do. I love that has happened. So anyway, so back to my story. So he goes, I'm 96 years old, and I bet I can outrace you. Well, one of the things I talk about in the Average Boy book series is we need to know what our temptations are. And I'm very competitive, too competitive. So I didn't want to race him because I knew I could beat him, but I didn't want to do that. And so I was like, no, I've been getting cramps in my leg because I didn't want to say, no, I know I can beat you. And he goes, okay, but I'm going to ask you one more question, and don't lie to me because you're not going to hurt my feelings. And I was like, oh, okay, you can ask me because I knew what he was going to ask me. And I was like, I'll tell you the truth. And he goes, is there a reason why you won't swim against me? Because you're a little sissy chicken? And I was like, what? Like this guy was on some Geritol buzz or something. And he literally goes, I didn't know if you wouldn't swim against me because you're a little Nancy boy. And I was like, it's on now, Grandpa. So now I'm going to beat him. So I'm stretching, I'm warming up, and he's getting ready too. He's like slamming cans of Ensure. So we get up against the wall. I go, name your terms. He goes down and back. So now I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to beat him because he's going to get down there and forget he's racing. So, and normally I don't tell this part of the story, but because you guys are so fun and you're pretty smart, we had talked about how old he was. And so he goes, I'll count to 3. And he did count to 3, but he counted like a really old person counts to 3. He counted in Roman numerals. Yeah. I'd never heard it out loud before. He was like, I. I was like, is that 3? Are you part dolphin? What is I? So we take off swimming. Not proud of this. This is not how to live a Christian life. But I swam to beat this guy because he called me a name. And that's pathetic. But I was swimming. I was like, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. Call me a little sissy chicken. I'm going to beat this elderly guy. Yeah. When I said I'm going to beat this elderly guy in my mind, I thought, what am I doing? You know, I travel all over the country trying to make people laugh so I can tell them to live boldly for Jesus. And here I'm trying to, and I was embarrassed. I was. And then I thought to myself, WWJD, what would Jesus do? And I knew the answer, that Jesus would still beat him, but just not by very much. Jesus was using me to teach him how to be humble. It's not like I'm in charge. So I did my little turnaround. He did his turnaround. I thought that's enough, that it won't embarrass him, but I'll still win. And then all of a sudden, I look back. Well, Old Man River decides to kick it up a notch. So he's moving up, and I'm swimming faster, and now he's moving up, and I'm trying to distract him. I'm like, hey, I think Matlock is on. Nothing. He gets even with me. He looks over, and he goes, Father Time shoots past me like a bullet in the water. I mean, he just took off, and I was like, I'm a little Nancy boy. And I actually didn't finish the race. I actually really did get a cramp on my legs, so thank you for the irony. And I crawled up on the side of the pool. I looked over this 96-year-old dude who was right back where we started, but now the finish line. He wasn't bragging. He was just sitting there just treading water, just grinning. Just super cool. And I had to give him props. Yeah. I was like, dude, you're an awesome swimmer. And you know what he did? He tried to get humble. He goes, I swim every day. I was like, dude, I don't care if you swim every day. You tore me up in that race, and you're 96 years old. You got to take credit for that. And I'll never forget his response. He looked at me and he goes, well, I appreciate that. And I'll take some of the credit. But I honestly think that most of the credit has got to go to these. And he reached under the water and took off swimming flippers off his feet. Little white flippers. I was like, you are my hero. And then he said one of the funniest things. He goes, I got to go. I'm late for work. And I was like, hang on, you're 96 years old and you still work? What do you do? And he goes, I'm a youth leader for an old folks home. And I was like, what? But I love that story because when I walked into the pool that day, I did what a lot of people do to us Christians. When I walked in the pool that day, all I saw was the surface level of him. I had no idea what kind of power this guy had underneath. He had the power to win the race. Well, when we're Christians, we've won the big war because when Christ came back 3 days later, proving death couldn't even hold him down, like we won. We're victorious in the long run. But this guy also had the power to do great things in the race. And I just saw the surface level at the beginning. Well, that's the same way. We go out in this world, and they just see the surface level. It's up to us to show them the power that we have, the power to make a difference, the power to love on people, the power to know what Jesus actually said, the power to save kids, like to bond, to make sure kids realize that God hadn't given up on them, the power to pray with people, the power to open up church doors and just have laughter and stuff. And so I just want to encourage you guys. I am going to be back here tomorrow at, did we agree on that? Okay. I'm going to close out, if it's okay. I know I'm over. But here's the deal. I have all these jokes that I write that I think are funny, and then I don't know where to put them in my act. So I put some music down. I'm going to get him to play this music, and I'm going to close out with this. And these are just jokes. And when you hear them, you'll realize why I don't know where to put them in my act. But these are jokes. Oh, that's all the time I have. So if you'll play that, we'll close out with this. I know it's like awkward and stuff, but I gave him this soundtrack like an hour. Well, now it was like 2 hours ago. Like I just sprung it on him, and it was really difficult. So he actually got it up on the computer and stuff. So it maybe just be frozen and stuff. While he's doing that, does anybody have any questions? Really? No? No questions? Yes.
Can you sign the hat?
Yes, I can. I'll do it after, back over the table after you buy something. What's up? Yes, I'll sign your paper. I've signed everything. I've signed a baby. Yeah. All right, let's do this. We have this. This is what I call my tweet song. I just found out Taco Bell now serves breakfast. Awesome. Now we have something for those of us who want to get diarrhea earlier in the day. When I die, I want to be cremated, and I'm trying to talk my kids into putting me in a jar that says, "He earned it." I can't believe the guy who played Dr. Strange and also Sherlock on the BBC series has not made a medicated adhesive sleep pad. I would totally buy a Benedict slumber patch. My kid was doing his homework and he asked me for a definition of a mixed blessing. And I was like, getting a kidney transplant from a bedwetter. My kid who's a junior, his math teacher won't email me back now because I love math is one autocorrect away from I love meth. My favorite holiday is Columbus Day. To celebrate, I cross the street and I take away my neighbor's land. My favorite holiday is Columbus Day. My least favorite holiday is No Shave November because my legs get itchy. If you put a squirrel's head in the toilet and flushed it, would that be a squirrely swirly? I wonder if Miss Piggy gets a lot of spam mail. I wonder if Jehovah's Witnesses' favorite band is The Doors. This summer, my kids and I learned the hard way that you cannot take a fishing pole into SeaWorld. For Mother's Day, I wrote a beautiful poem for my wife, and I read it to her aloud, but she didn't even listen. She just kept mowing the lawn. And this will be my last one. And if you can't talk to me, I'll be over my table. If you can't talk to me, I'm on social media. I know it's pathetic to say, hey, follow me, but follow me. I know that's pathetic, but I got a text from one of my family members going, "Ha ha, you're supposed to be famous, and I got more followers than you." And I was like, "Big deal, Grandma." So I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. If you're a sinner, I'm on TikTok. So I'll close with this last one. And you kids, if you like me now, you're not going to like me. But I think it's hilarious that my 18-year-old son doesn't know I still have a baby monitor hidden in his room. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was awesome. Thank you.
Let them all hear about it, you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Kahatsu, Mr. Brandon Young, and Mr. Bob Smiley. All right. As Bob said, he's going to be sharing the gospel and some laughs with us tomorrow at our 10 a.m. service, so make sure you come out for that. Here's some more of his great testimony, some more of the great things that he's doing to help the kingdom of heaven, and all the awesome things they're doing. Now, just before I release you, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. And please make sure, once again, you go over to the merchandise table, see what the guys have. They got some great stuff. And Brandon made me a deal. He said, whatever chicken gong shirts do not sell tonight, he was going to leave here. So for the love of God, buy a chicken gong shirt. For the love of God. Once again, make sure you give the guys a great big thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. God bless you. Our service tomorrow is going to be at 10 o'clock. And one last announcement before I dismiss you. We are going to be celebrating the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, with a Easter sunrise service on Easter morning, 6:30 a.m. at the McGuire Barn. We have some flyers in the back. Please make sure you take a look at that. God bless you all for being here tonight. You can be dismissed. That will be a Sunday because it's leap year.